Hello, hello, good afternoon. We are here again. We have mentor Victor with us while mentor Alfredo arrives. Hello, Victor, how are you today?
Hello, everyone. I'm pretty good. How are you? What about you?
Actually, testing again my mic. Those days I'm having mic problems. I have to do, the both as a technical guy and also a speaker. Sometimes it's difficult. So, Victor, how do you see this year, GSOC? We're gonna have a busy year or what?
I'm see the best moment. If you want to,
Is Flutter at maximum power?
I think so. Yeah. A lot of big things are coming.
Ooh, and you cannot tell us anything new that you know and we don't know. Something secret, something juicy.
Yeah, I think maybe it is, but maybe I cannot. I must not say it.
I got you. You have some secrets you cannot share with us publicly.
Not yet. Let's say not yet.
Okay,
but we will.
But the thing is nice. I mean, we are going to have good news soon about Flutter. I mean, more good news because this year we are in. How was this name of the event from Flutter that we did? Flutter in production.
Yes, that's the point. So it's a good year for Flutter developer and Flutter development. It is a good year for big things. I have seen people talking about macros. I don't know if you are updated about this concern.
You can introduce our colleagues while Alfredo arrives.
Okay. Macros is a technology with Dart, but in the same sense with Flutter, that could automatically create code by itself.
Oh, so, this seems like AI.
It looks like but Google just decide we are not gonna continue with this improvement because they are seeing after a long time this is not as stable as expected. The performance is bad, so we don't see this in a long term.
So you mean that you are telling us that the macros, and then you say that this is not gonna longer be a new, or what? Is that the
this
new?
Is not gonna be available, exactly. So this is not gonna
be
available.
Macros are not gonna be for real.
But I love when somebody cares about the long term. Because, okay, you want macros, I will give you macros. But I will give you macros with thousands and thousands errors, bugs, issues.
That's bad.
So that's the point. I am happy that somebody said, hey, why we don't put focus to create power features, simpler features that they can be done. And they put some samples that could be brilliant. So
also, Victor, you the slogan from the mantra from the Flutter team was Flutter in production, and you're a guy of Flutter in production because you're not a young developer that's studying and knowing new techniques. You are really productioning things, applications. So in your company, we can say your company, that's probably Capgemini.
Yeah. Yes.
And
my company.
You are doing that stuff for real with very big applications with very big clients. Is that right?
Every day. Well, I mean, or every week. Every week we have big companies asking us, hey, can you explain me again what the hell is Flutter?
Alfredo, how are you?
Sorry, guys.
You
Sorry.
you can take a minute, inhale, exhale, relax. We are having a nice conversation while you arrive. We know you have some trouble with the public transportation. So, Victor, very big companies are asking your company to develop in Flutter, or they are asking just what's that Flutter, and is Flutter for us, or what is the question usually?
Yeah, they ask us. They ask to us what is Flutter and how they can use it in a smart way, or how this technology could help them to save some money, or if the performance is gonna be. But trust me when I'm saying big international companies, which are hearing about this technology, and they want to know, okay, I know you explain in some moments about this, but can you make me a specific meeting regarding this technology to know how this can be useful for us?
Very nice. This is a momentum. So people is coming. Hello, I want to do this. Explain me. I want to join the train. Very nice. So Alfredo.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're ready because we have your slides on the screen. Are you prepared to make the presentation? You have enough air in your.
We can try. Let's see.
Okay. So Victor, thank you. You have a presentation in in a week or something like this.
In a few days, yeah. In a few days.
You had a presentation for the Liquid Galaxy community talking about Flutter, of course, and also
security. How to do a secure development.
Very important thing. Everything is important, but security is always lots of important. And also sorry, go.
And I promise something. I promise jokes in the middle.
Oh, that's good. Some jokes. That's good. Let's make another joke. Alfredo is in Amsterdam having a lovely rainy day. Well, in his own city, Malaga is 20 degrees with the beach, everything nice. So he's thinking about, my old town. I want to come back home.
100% great.
So, Victor, also, we together, the three, we have one of our dark conversations this Thursday with other colleagues. Is that right?
Yes. We have two big guys. Lucas, the CEO from Widgetbook, the big technology in Flutter that you can be useful for to render UIs and to see components in PRs. And I hope Lucas bring us a brief introduction about this. And also Mark Sullivan, which he actually is maintaining some public projects in the Flutter community. So both of them will be really comfortable conversation.
Very nice. So guys from our community already have reserved on the Google Developer 7 platform. So we will have people saying our lovely dark conversations. So thank you very much, Victor, for accompanying me on the very, very few transportation minutes for Alfredo. And Alfredo, the stage is yours. Victor, you can go out of the meet. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Victor.
You're welcome. Bye. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
See you.
And Alfredo, I'm gonna just switch on my camera and my mic, and the stage is yours from now.
Perfect. Thank you so much, people. Sorry for the delay. It was outside of my control here in Netherlands with the public transportation. That is very nice, but sometimes it is not. So yeah, welcome everyone. Today we're going to talk about compiling Flutter to web. And also, this is very important for the Liquid Galaxy project this year, because also we are going to support web apps. So this is very important if you want to make your Liquid Galaxy project app with Flutter in web. So let's start. I want to introduce myself very quickly. I am Alfredo Bautista. I am Flutter GDE from 2022. Science 2022. I am from Malaga, but now I'm living in the Netherlands. Here, nice place, but the weather is not very good. But this is what it is. And also, in my free time, I organize the GDG Marbella and FlutterConf that probably is coming soon. So stay tuned. Perfect. So today I'm going to do a very quick Flutter introduction for the people that doesn't know about Flutter. We're going to talk about if your Flutter code is ready for web, how is to work with Flutter Web, because it's very different than develop Flutter and mobile apps. And I will give you some tips that I use in my personal career using Flutter in web. And at the end, we are going to have a Q&A, so you can ask me whatever you want about Flutter. So yeah, I don't know if someone is knowing Flutter. I hope so. But yeah, Flutter basically is a UI framework to build mobile, web, and desktop apps from a single code base. So in Flutter, you only have to make one code working, and you can deploy in every platform. So you can share your UI, but also the the business logic code. So it's very nice because you as a developer, you can create a very nice experience and develop and deploy in every place without any change. So the basic 4 pillars for Flutter are beautiful because you can create the design whatever you want, because we are going to use some canvas. So you can use some pre-built components, but you can create the component that you want. You can create whatever you want in animation, widgets, UI, etc. Also, it's very fast because in every platform that Flutter is going to compile, is going to compile natively. So, for example, probably you download some apps that takes 100 megabytes to download. It's because they are web apps, but they need a web browser to run in mobile. In Flutter, it is not like this. In Flutter, you can ship your code in native code in each platform. In Android is Kotlin, in iOS is Swift. In web, we are going to talk about this, but basically you can get a lot of performance from a Flutter web app and Flutter app. Also, it's productive because we are going to I'm going to show you a few tools that is already in Flutter that help you to develop in Flutter. And the last point that for me is very important is an open source project. I guess is the most active open source in GitHub. It has around 100K stars in GitHub, and it's very, very active repository. So in this case, if you find something that is not working or the behavior is not what do you expect, you can go directly to the GitHub repository. You can create pull requests, you can create issue, and you can collaborate and help with the Flutter project. So it's very nice. One thing that I mentioned is this some tools called hot reload, that when you are building your Flutter app, you can change your code directly in the IDE without compiling again the app. So you can change very quickly the UI and also the behavior of the app without to wait for a long time to compile again the app. So this is very, very nice in the day-to-day. And also, as I mentioned, go directly to the Flutter repo. You can see all the code of the framework. You can see some contribution for people outside of the Flutter team in Google. So yeah, it's very nice because you can contribute and you can participate in your favorite framework. And maybe someone is asking, okay, so if I can ship my app in every platform, should I learn every platform code? So the short answer is not. You don't have to, because we are going to code in Dart in this very high level. So you don't have to worry about in which platform the app will run. In every platform, we will have a different runner. So the app can run in every platform without any change. So you, as a developer, as a Flutter developer, you don't have to worry about in which platform your app is going to run. So it's very nice. And to understand Flutter, you have to learn Dart. Dart is the language to code in Flutter. Dart itself, like if you learn Dart, you can build Dart apps without Flutter. So, for example, with Dart, you can create some silly eyes. A lot of people is creating some silly eyes using Dart because you can compile also to the native code. So, for example, if you create a Dart script, you can compile directly to Linux machine. So you have like an executable. So you can run directly without to install anything. So it's very nice also learn Dart to create, for example, backend apps. So only to give you this information that with Flutter, you have to understand Dart and you have to code in Dart. Cool. So with Flutter, you can deploy your apps in mobile. You can deploy your apps in web. You can deploy your app also in desktop, but also in embedded device. For example, maybe do you know that Xiaomi is launching an electric car? So the entertainment system of the car is using Flutter. So it's very nice because you can ship your Flutter app directly to the Xiaomi car. So in this case, you have a lot of options creating apps with Flutter. So there are a few projects that allows Flutter to run in Raspberry Pi, for example, and a lot of people has created some like side projects with some machines that use this Raspberry to run, and you can show a very nice UI directly in the Raspberry Pi. So it's very, very nice. Okay, so the first thing to understand when we are going to talk about Flutter Web is WebAssembly. That is not Flutter, it's a single technology outside of Flutter. But WebAssembly comes to help the developers to ship apps in the web browser. So in this case, when you are going to create an app using WebAssembly, you can ship directly your app as a compiled code instead of interpreted code. For example, when you have a JavaScript file, the browser is going to read your JavaScript file on the fly. So in the moment that you inject this JavaScript. With WebAssembly, you can do the same as mobile. You can build your app and deploy in a web server. So it's very nice because it helps us to use or to get this very close native performance in the browser. So for example, if a user is using Chrome in the phone, using WebAssembly, you can try to achieve this native performance in your app. So it's very nice. It's very, very good compared to JavaScript performance. Also, this compiled code help us to have a smaller bundle size. So when the user is going to download your code to run it, it's going to take less time that is compiled in in JavaScript. So this is very nice. And also these high performance apps that you can achieve with WebAssembly using another third-party apps is not easy to do with JavaScript. So it's very, very nice if you want to ship very good performance apps in browser. Why I'm talking about this? Because in Flutter Web, we have two ways of working in web. The first one is using HTML rendering. So in this case, we are going to use HTML element and CSS to shape the UI of your app. And also you are going to use this transpiled Dart code in JavaScript code. So this is good because it's very supported for a lot of browser, but in the other side, the performance is very, very bad. So we have another option that is going to or is taking a lot of improvements in the last year and is taking a lot of popularity about this Canvas kit or Skia WebAssembly. That is a canvas style rendering. So it's going to draw a canvas in the web browser. So with this canvas, we have better performance. We have better UI experience because we are not using HTML element that they have to be interpreted in the web browser. We are going to use this canvas to draw pixel by pixel everything that we want. So the problem with this is not every browser supports this, so it's a bad thing. Now they are improving a little bit which browser we have this support. But currently, only the last version of about Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Opera has the support to WebAssembly. So as I mentioned, I want to focus in this Canvas Kit Skia WebAssembly. So Canvas Kit is the default rendering engine using WebAssembly. So we use this Skia compiled to WebAssembly to draw our UI. But in the newest version, also we have this Skia WebAssembly, this Skia WebAssembly. So it's Skia, still Skia for drawing the UI, but it's like designed to use WebAssembly build mode. So this is this change help us to have better performance and to ship better products. So keep in mind when you are going to develop Flutter web apps to select this render engine if you know that your user has the latest version in the Chrome or in their web browser. So, okay, we talked about technically how Flutter, the framework itself, support web, but is your Flutter code ready to be shipped in the web? Because we have a few things to discuss. Okay, basically, Flutter, the framework itself, is support to build directly in web. But your code using this framework maybe doesn't support to ship it in web. Why? Because depends of which component that you are using or how you are using this framework, maybe it's not supported in web. So you have to keep in mind that when Flutter born, the focus of the framework was mobile. So it has a few things that is not supported in web because of this first approach of mobile. So the first thing that is very easy to solve is, are your dependencies that you are using in your product ready for web? When you go to pub.dev, you can see which platform support these dependencies. In the case that this dependency doesn't support web, you cannot use in your Flutter web project. Maybe it's some dependency that you are not actively using in your app, but if this dependency is in your code, you cannot ship your Flutter to Flutter web. How can I solve this if I don't have any support for this dependency in web? We have something called conditional imports. I give this some illustration thanks to Code with Andrea, another DGD that he's very active. So with these conditional supports, we can use Dart to select which file is going to be compiled or transpiled in web or in mobile. So for example, in this case, we use a normal export, but we are using conditional to know if this Dart library.js is supported, that this means we are in web. We are going to export the web dependency. If we are on mobile with this .io support, we are going to export this native file. That means we need to create some kind of interface to wrap our dependencies to be able to ship in web and mobile. So this is not the best solution. It's like a workaround. I mean, this works, you can use. I use it in some projects, but it takes a lot of work. So I suggest you, instead of like creating these wrappings and using this conditional import-export, to try to find dependencies that are supported in web. So in this case, for example, I was searching for some mobile scanner, barcode scanner. So the first one is not supported in web, and the last one, yes. Maybe this plugin or this package doesn't make sense in web because it requires the camera, or it requires another stuff that is only present in mobile. But if the package is supported in web, you can ship your app without any problem, and you don't have to think about if this dependency is supported. So I suggest you to try to find only dependencies that are available in web or even in desktop and mobile. So this is like the very first point to know about if my app is ready to deploy in web. Okay, the second thing that I saw in a lot of projects, also in some project that I was working, was using this Dart.io package. Previously, in the first version of the Flutter, we use a lot of this Dart.io that give us some connection with the platform, with the native platform, or also the HTTP package. But this library is not supported in web. So that means if you are using this import in some of your files and you want to ship your Flutter app to web, it will not compile. So how can I solve it? So try to use some libraries ready for multi-platform. For example, in Dart.io, we have this file class. So for example, if I am working with files and I want to ship my app to web, how can I do it? So for example, we have a wrapper for this file called X-file class that is inside this cross-file package. So this is a wrapper. This is a file abstraction that helps us to use file in the apps, like directly in the code, but we are able to use this in web. So keep in mind that if you are using Dart.io, you cannot ship in web. So try to use library ready for multi-platform. Also, for example, the HTTP client that is directly in Dart.io is not supported in web. So you have to use some, it's external, but it's from the Dart team repository. So it's like an abstraction to use this HTTP client directly also in web or in desktop. So it's very important that when you are importing Dart.io, you cannot ship in web. So try to find a workaround or another library to be able to ship in web. Also, one thing that is very, very common, and I saw in a lot of time when I saw projects with Flutter that they want to ship in web is, okay, maybe your code is working, you don't use libraries that doesn't support web, you are not using Dart.io, but maybe your navigation makes sense in web because the mobile navigation is not the same as in web. So, for example, some dialogue, some modals that you will not see in web. So in this case, we have different approach to solve this navigation in Flutter to support mobile and web. So you can check this Flutter navigation 2.0 or 2.0 that it has a better support for this Flutter web or desktop navigation. And in the official documentation, you can see a lot of examples about how to handle this navigation in web. Okay, so this is like my previous advertise about if your app is ready to ship in web. But when you decide to ship in web, you have to keep in mind that you will start working with web. So that means the first thing is you will not have hot reload. So do you remember when I talked about this tool in the beginning of the talk? Counting that or telling you that you can change your code on the fly and this is going to change without compiling again your app. In Flutter Web, this is not impossible. This is not possible. So when you want to change something, the app will be refreshed. It will not take the same time as in mobile platform to compile again, but it will take some time and also it will lose the state. So for example, if you have like a very large onboarding or you have like a multi-steps process and you want to change something in the UI, for example, you have to build again your app to see the change. So this is very, very important when you want to focus on Flutter Web because this amazing tool you will not be able to use in web. Also, you will start working with Chrome. That is the default environment to work with Flutter Web. So for some developer that has some experience in web, it doesn't have a problem. But for some mobile developer that they are going to start using Flutter Web, it can be a little bit painful. So I mean, you have to start learning about ports, configuration flags, different profile renderings for Chrome. You have to test in different browsers. You have to ship your app. So it's a complex world. So keep in mind that if you want to use Flutter Web and you know Flutter and you know already mobile, it's not the same as Flutter Web. So only keep in mind this. And also, for example, if you delegate to use isolate in mobile, you are not be able to use isolate in web. We have service worker that is the same idea or the same approach about this delegation of some heavy process, but it's not the same. So for example, if you come from mobile and you have a lot of isolates and you want to ship your Flutter app to Flutter web without to change a lot of, it will take some time to understand this service worker and to use this JavaScript to write a service worker in web to be able to use from Flutter, only to mention you. And as I mentioned in the Chrome environment, it's not the same world. I mean, I studied web development, but finally I become Flutter engineer. So I moved to the mobile environment that is very different for web. So in the way around, if you come from mobile and you want to start using Flutter Web, you have to understand what is a deployment, what is a web server, what is a domain, what is a hosting, what is a certificate, blah, blah. It has a lot of complexity. Not about Flutter Web, it's about the web environment. So only to keep in mind you that maybe your Flutter app works perfect. It has the perfect dependencies. Everything is solved to running web, but you have to understand what is web, what is the environment of web. Only to mention you, I don't want to what is the name in English? I forget. To scare you about this Flutter Web, but these topics, if you want to start using Flutter Web, maybe you can take a look before to decide to use Flutter Web. Okay, so this is like the last part of the talk. I'm going to give you some tips to try to make your onboarding smoothly in the Flutter Web. So the first thing is, and this is something that I spent some time and I didn't configure very well in the beginning, and it was painful. It was to configure your Flutter Web or your ID with the ports and the configuration for Flutter Web. Okay, so for example, when you are debugging Flutter apps and you run an emulator, when you click in your ID to debug a session or start a session, it will start directly in your phone. Probably if you use the app before, you will have some data, everything is correct. But in web, by default, Flutter is going to choose one random port every time that you are going to start this debug session. That's mean if you want to save some data, you have to choose the same port, because when you run different instances of the Chrome, but you have different ports, it will not share the information. When you select the same port, it will share the information. So for example, imagine that you have a login with some information, save it or store it in the web app. If you choose a random port, every time that you are going to start a debug session, you have to log in again. So the first thing that I should do when I start using a Flutter Web project is to set up a web port. You can use directly this flag in your ID. This is a Visual Studio Code configuration, but for a lot of IDs, you can configure like the same, because it's a flag from the Flutter run command. So you can use a web port with the selected port, and you can do like this very quickly. You have more configuration, deeply configuration, also for cross-domain issue. But the very, very basic thing to configure first is this port configuration. So I recommend you to take a look in your ID configuration. Also, related with Chrome, as I mentioned previously, in Chrome we have different tabs inside this developer menu. So, for example, this application tab is very, very important for Flutter web developers. Here you can see the local storage, so which data your app is storing, in which format your data is stored. If you want to clean the cache, if you want to remove some service worker, if you want to see like your performance of the app, everything, you can go directly here. And also, for example, in the console or in the network, you can see some web app problems, like some JavaScript problems or code problems. So you can debug directly the browser. And in the network, you can see the HTTP request or every request to download assets, everything, and you can measure your performance. So it's very important as a Flutter developer, if you want to ship Flutter web, you have to take a look in this Flutter, in this Chrome configuration. And the last thing, and this is a very good thing for Flutter web, is it's very nice because you can deploy your app very quickly, quicker than in a store. And that's something why we choose in the like a Galaxy project to be able to create web apps, because we don't have to go through the stores. We don't have to go to the App Store. We don't have to go to the Play Store. So you can set up a CI/CD to deploy directly your Flutter code in a hosting. So for example, I created some one video some time ago in Spanish, so maybe you have to understand a little bit of Spanish, about how you can, using GitHub Action and Flutter and Firebase hosting, how you can deploy your web app directly in a commit or in a pull request. So it's very nice because as a Flutter developer, you can ship your app very quickly and easier than using mobile approach. You don't have to compile for mobile. For web, compiling is quicker, and you don't have to have a lot of dependencies in your machine to build your app. So it's very, very nice. Take a look if you want to deploy and if you want to use Flutter web. So that's it. I don't know if I was very quickly. I want to explain all the details about my journey using Flutter webs, giving you some tips. These are recorded sessions, so if I was very quickly, you can pause your video and see again. You can see the slides again. That's the moment to answer your questions. So feel free to give us questions.
That's gonna be if our colleagues are shy today. We have several persons on the YouTube chat, but you remember that we have this lovely delay.
Yeah, sure.
So we can talk in the middle. I was just Alfredo. I was at the centimeter of stopping you and saying you something that when you were talking about the stores, just to reminder that we have our own store. Our store.
Yeah, that's true.
The Mentor Jazz developed a very nice web store, and we have this bad problem with the Play Store last year. We finally decided to have our own place in the web, and we have the web store in our own place. Okay, we have some questions now.
Nice.
Let's start. Mohit Sharma, does Flutter web support that DevTools?
Yes, it supports the DevTools. It's not the same as in mobile. It's not the best. You don't have these metrics about performance, but also this widget tree is not supported yet, I guess. But you can use. It's not the best experience. As I mentioned, probably you have to take a look in the Chrome DevTools, but you can use that DevTools, like the Flutter DevTools, but it's not the same as mobile. So the short answer is yes, but no.
If Mohit has still something regarding this, he will ask again.
Yeah, so, if you have any question, like specifically about which part, we can see.
Yeah. Doug Hagat says, I wanted to ask, how can one use Service Worker, especially to convert a Flutter app to Flutter web?
You don't have to use service. I explained wrongly. So these Service Workers is like a web asset, I will say, to make or to run some code. So it's like a tool. It's like you can see this Service Worker as a isolates in web. So you don't have to use to compile your Flutter web directly with the CLI with the Flutter command. You can deploy or build your Flutter web app without any Service Worker. So don't worry, the Service Worker is only if you want to implement like isolates in web. So yeah, but you don't have to know about this to ship your Flutter to your Flutter app to Flutter web.
Okay. Shivam says, which CI/CD tool is specifically designed for Flutter apps?
I very like GitHub Actions because it's free, and also with this Firebase CLI, you can set up directly this CI/CD in your project. It's going to ask you a few questions, so it's going to set up very quickly a CI/CD using this GitHub Action plus Firebase hosting, and it's very simple. Maybe in this in the YouTube video that is in Spanish, but you can see some repo examples about how you can implement this CI/CD using GitHub Action and Firebase hosting.
I'm not sure, but I think that one contributor on task 3 is preparing a presentation on this. I think it's Mattia from Italy that is make a presentation in a few weeks about this. Shubham says, is DIO compatible for web as it is the easiest for API calls?
Nope. As I mentioned in the presentation, Dart.io, Dart.io is not supported in web. So if you are using Dart.io in your Flutter app, you cannot compile to web. So I give some suggestion about how you can replace these dependencies in your Flutter app to avoid to not be compatible with Flutter web. So you have a lot of options. For example, if you are using this Dart.io for HTTP calls, you can use directly the HTTP package from pub.dev, and you can avoid to use this Dart.io dependency.
Okay. Let's wait a few seconds for any other question, any other person. So I was going to say how is the weather, but we already said that. A joke.
It's not very well. It's not very good.
No, it's very good. You have everything is green there. Is that right?
In winter, everything is dark.
Okay. I say green in the sense that in the day when you have some sunlight.
Light? Yeah, it's very nice. That's true. But only in the days that you can see the sun.
Yeah, I imagine. At what time goes down the sun in the afternoon?
Around 5 and few minutes.
We are here now. It's 6:30 or something like this.
But for example, in the
middle
of the year, it's around 4 and half and 4.
Yeah, 4 and a half. We are waiting for your questions. And of course, guys, community, you know that Mentor Alfredo hopefully will be with us mentoring some of you. If we are on GSOC, remember, we have to wait till this month at the end, February 27th, 28th. I never remember what's the day that Google will communicate what are the organizations this year on GSOC. Shubham is giving us thank yous. Shubham is also giving us thank you. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
We will wait for a few seconds more. Here, Mohit says, how can the web app be made responsive?
That is a very good question, and it's related with the navigation. I will say the easiest way to be responsible is using Layout Builder that you can search in YouTube, because Flutter has this official documentation about the Layout Builder. But basically, this Layout Builder is a widget that gives you a callback with the context, and the media query size. So you can select which widget you want to present, depends of the size of the screen. So for example, you have a screen for mobile, that is one widget, and you have another screen for web or for desktop, a bigger screen. So with this widget, you can select which widget do you want to show when the size of the screen is bigger than or smaller than. So it's very easy. Try to find this layout builder, and it's very, very easy.
I'm going to say, Mohit, also that this is a very important question, but remember, everyone, this year we are not going to work with tablets, so we are going to work on smartphones and vertical. So the responsive things is needed, but you're not going to have the problem of having a big screen like this. So you're going to work only with this short space, reduced space that will make you think more about the usability and the user interface. But Flutter is totally perfect for this, because better widgets and nice UI than with Flutter, you will find it. We are good. We're doing a good publicity of our
Yeah, for sure.
As you
It
said.
doesn't look like the Flutter is paying us, right?
No, they don't pay us. Okay. So I think there are no more questions. We will wait for a few seconds. And
Nice.
nothing. We'll see you again on Thursday. We have the
Yes, sure.
dark conversations with
Yep.
the other persons that Victor commented us at the beginning of this streaming. I want to say thank you, Alfredo, for coming and trying. Oh, very nice photo. I remember this place. We were in
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. Hey, that's true. Very nice. So we have another question from Shubham.
Yeah.
Does conversion into web affect SSH executions?
No, because this is execution. I found some SSH package that support web, so in this case, doesn't change too much.
I don't remember which one are supporting in the master thing. Mentor Josh and other colleagues prepare. I don't remember which one is, but I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember also the name, but I guess it was supported in web.
Sure, because we need SSH, so that's clear.
Yeah.
Okay, another time. We'll wait a few seconds.
Yeah.
Here.
I want to say that
Sure.
it's very simple to work with Flutter Web. Only if you have these 3-4 points on mind when you are developing the Flutter app, it's very easy to port in Flutter Web, and it's very nice because you can see like your app, your mobile app in web in a few seconds. This is very, very nice.
Good. That's great. This thing of the streaming is complicated because if we do that, the conversation in Discord, the conversation here will be in real time, and the YouTube will be later. If we do this in YouTube, it's later. I mean, always, or we are in a meet, and only the persons that talk are in a meet, but then usually we have also persons from YouTube. This is always, I will say, a mess, but no problem. We are used to do that.
Yeah.
That's life. That's our life. So I think we're finished. Again, thank you, Alfredo. See you on Thursday with the dark conversations, and
thank you so much.
Thank you everyone from the community that attended today, and see you. Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.